You come to an intersection that is blocked by other traffic. You should A. Go slowly until the traffic ahead moves. B. Get as close as possible to the car in front of you. C. Stay out of the intersection until you can pass through. D. Sound your horn to make the cars move up. C. Stay out of the intersection until you can pass through. You cannot enter an intersection if traffic is backed up on the other side and you cannot get completely through the intersection. Wait until traffic ahead clears so you do not block the intersection. If you see this sign, you A. Must not pass another vehicle. B. May pass a slow-moving vehicle if you can do so quickly. C. May pass if you know the road ahead. D. May pass, but only at night. A. Must not pass another vehicle. Regulatory signs are white, rectangular signs with black markings. Drivers must obey the instructions posted on all regulatory signs. Where this sign is posted, it is prohibited for drivers to pass one another. This sign means A. Continue at your current speed. B. You must stop ahead. C. Speeding is not allowed. D. There is a traffic signal ahead. D. There is a traffic signal ahead. This sign indicates that there is a traffic signal ahead. This sign means A. No right turns. B. Right turns are permitted. C. Stop before turning right. D. Sharp curve ahead. A. No right turns. A regulatory sign displaying a red circle with a red slash through the middle indicates that a specific action is prohibited. Right turns are not permitted where this sign is posted.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
Roads freeze quickly when they are A. Flat. B. Curvy. C. In the sun. D. Shaded. D. Shaded. In cold or wet weather, you should take special care on sections of road that are shaded by trees or buildings. These areas freeze more quickly than the rest of the road and are the last parts of the road to dry. From the center lane, which maneuvers can you perform? A. You may make left turns. B. You may make U-turns. C. You may pass slow-moving traffic. D. All of the above. A. You may make left turns. This sign indicates where a lane is reserved for the exclusive use of left-turning vehicles from either direction. Such a lane may not be used for passing or for through traffic. This road sign means A. Roundabout ahead. B. No passing zone. C. Left turn yield on green. D. Traffic signal ahead. D. Traffic signal ahead. This sign means that a traffic signal is ahead. You should slow down and be prepared to stop. When approaching a flashing yellow light, drivers should A. Increase their speed. B. Come to a complete stop. C. Turn on their headlights. D. Slow down and proceed with caution. D. Slow down and proceed with caution. A flashing yellow light warns of a hazard. Slow down and proceed with caution. This sign means A. Pedestrians walking along the road ahead. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. C. Pedestrians must not cross here. D. Be alert for construction workers on the road. B. Pedestrian crossing ahead. This sign indicates the presence of a pedestrian crossing. Drivers should be cautious when driving where pedestrians may be present. Increase your following distance when A. Driving behind a large vehicle that blocks your vision. B. Exiting an expressway. C. Following a motorcycle. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. You should increase your following distance when you are behind a large vehicle that blocks your vision, when driving in bad weather or heavy traffic, when exiting an expressway, when behind a motorcycle or bicycle, and if someone is tailgating you. When changing lanes you should not: A. Check your side and rear view mirrors. B. Give a turn signal to signal your intentions. C. Check for other drivers who may be moving into the same lane as you. D. Use your cell phone to contact the police to determine if the road ahead is clear. D. Use your cell phone to contact the police to determine if the road ahead is clear. Before changing lanes, check your side and rear view mirrors for traffic approaching you from behind. Use your turn signal to let other drivers know you plan to change lanes. Check for other drivers who also may be moving into the same lane. This road sign means: A. No left turn. B. No U-turns. C. No exit. D. No right turn. D. No right turn. This sign indicates that right turns are prohibited. Conviction of which of the following carries the highest number of points? A. Driving recklessly. B. Driving on the wrong side of the road. C. Illegal passing. D. Passing a stopped school bus. D. Passing a stopped school bus. Passing a stopped school bus carries 5 points, reckless driving 4 points, driving on the wrong side of the road 4 points, and passing illegally 4 points. Always signal when: A. Changing lanes. B. Pulling into or out of a parking space. C. Pulling into traffic from a parking area or alley. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Your turn signals should always be used when you make any movement to the left or right. You should use your signal when pulling into traffic from a curbside parking space, moving into a new lane, or passing another vehicle. What happens if you drink alcohol while taking prescription or over-the-counter medicine? A. The medicine reduces the effect of the alcohol. B. The alcohol will help the medicine cure a cold. C. The combination could multiply the effects of the alcohol or medicine. D. There is no effect because they are different substances. C. The combination could multiply the effects of the alcohol or medicine. Consuming alcohol and other drugs together can increase the impairing effects of both. For example, having one drink while you are also using a cold remedy could affect you as much as several drinks would when being consumed separately from any medications. When you see or hear an emergency vehicle coming, you should: A. Stop immediately and let the vehicle pass. B. Drive as far toward the right side of the road as is safe and stop. C. Proceed slowly and permit the vehicle to pass. D. Keep moving slowly, staying to the right side of the road. B. Drive as far toward the right side of the road as is safe and stop. When driving on a two-lane roadway or undivided highway, you must yield to an emergency vehicle using its lights and/or siren, regardless of the direction from which it is approaching. Immediately drive as near as possible to the right side of the road and stop, taking care not to stop within an intersection. A person walking with a white cane or guide dog is likely to be A. A deaf person. B. A person involved with a traffic study. C. A blind person. D. None of the above. C. A blind person. Drivers must always yield the right-of-way to a pedestrian when the pedestrian is a blind person who is using a white cane or guide dog. Which of the following recommendations does not promote safe night driving? A. Keep your windshield clean. B. Be aware that tinted windows reduce visibility in the dark. C. Carry a flashlight in your vehicle. D. Look into the headlights of oncoming vehicles. D. Look into the headlights of oncoming vehicles. If you look into the headlights of an oncoming vehicle, the pupil of your eye will contract. After the oncoming vehicle has passed, there will be an interval of time during which the pupil must readjust to the less intense light. During this recovery period, you are virtually driving blind. You may be required to attend a driver improvement clinic if you accumulate. Fill in the blank. Against your license. A. 7 points. B. 3 points. C. 1 point. D. 12 points. A. 7 points. If you accumulate 7 points against your license, you may be required to attend a driver improvement clinic. Completing the clinic will remove 3 points from your driving record. Which of the following are used on some highways to direct drivers into the proper lanes for turning? A. Flashing red lights. B. Flashing yellow lights. C. White lines on the side of the road. D. White arrows in the middle of the lanes. Which of the following commonly causes traffic accidents? A. Inattentive driving. B. Excessive speed under the driving conditions. C. Following other vehicles too closely. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Driving too fast for conditions is a major cause of motor vehicle crashes. Being inattentive to surroundings can cause a driver to collide with other vehicles. Most rear-end collisions are caused by drivers following other vehicles too closely. You may not park within. Fill in the blank. Of a fire hydrant. A. 10 feet. B. 15 feet. C. 30 feet. D. 45 feet. A telltale sign of a drunk driver is A. They are weaving between lanes. B. They are driving more slowly than the normal traffic flow. C. They are making quick and sudden stops. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. Telltale signs of drunk driving include speeding, weaving, driving more slowly than the normal traffic flow, making jerking motions, and making quick and sudden stops. You approach an emergency vehicle that is stopped with its lights flashing. You must A. Slow down. If possible, change lanes so you will not drive next to the stopped emergency vehicle. B. Drive to the right side of the road and stop. C. Stay in your lane and continue to drive at the same speed. D. Accelerate to quickly pass the stopped vehicle. A. Slow down. If possible, change lanes so you will not drive next to the stopped emergency vehicle. If you approach an emergency vehicle, tow truck, or roadside assistance vehicle that is stopped with its lights flashing, you must change lanes to allow the vehicle extra space. If there is only one lane moving in your direction, or if changing lanes would be unsafe, you must slow down to a speed below the posted speed limit and give the stationary vehicle as much room as possible. Always slow down and be prepared to stop when you approach an emergency scene. This is a fill in the blank sign. A. Stop. B. Wrong way. C. Yield. D. Do not enter. C. Yield. This triangular sign is a yield sign. When you see this sign, you must slow down to check for traffic and yield the right of way to pedestrians and approaching cross traffic. Stop only if it is necessary to do so. This sign means A. Watch for drunk drivers. B. Curves ahead. C. Slippery when wet. D. Apply your brakes quickly. C. Slippery when wet. This sign warns that the road is slippery when wet. This sign means A. Pedestrians only. B. Intersection ahead. C. Hiking trails ahead. D. School crossing ahead. Which medications could have negative side effects that affect driving ability? A. Any medication. B. Headache medicine. C. Diet pills. D. Prescription medication. A. Any medication. Any medication could potentially affect your ability to drive. Be sure to ask your doctor or pharmacist about the effects your prescription may have on driving. Read the labels on over-the-counter medicines to determine if their side effects can impair your driving. When passing another vehicle on a road with two lanes traveling in opposite directions, you should A. Return to the driving lane when there's enough room between you and the vehicle you passed. B. Remain in the left lane if you intend to turn left. C. Return to the right side of the roadway immediately. D. Drive in either lane. A. Return to the driving lane when there's enough room between you and the vehicle you passed. When passing another vehicle on a two-lane roadway, you must return to the right side of the roadway when there is enough room between you and the vehicle you have passed. To be safe when crossing a railroad, you should A. Look both ways, but only when the red light is flashing. B. Listen, look both ways, and then proceed if it is safe to do so. C. Cross especially quickly when a train is approaching. D. Quickly pass under any lowering gates. B. Listen, look both ways, and then proceed if it is safe to do so. Railroad crossings are always dangerous. Drivers should look and listen for an approaching train coming from either direction before proceeding across the tracks. Watch for signals indicating an approaching train and never proceed until you are certain it is safe to do so. When approaching a curve in the roadway, drivers should slow down. A. Before entering the curve. B. After completing the curve. C. In the middle of the curve. D. Only if they see approaching traffic. A. Before entering the curve. Adjust your speed before entering a curve. Driving too quickly can break the grip that tires have on the road. This sign means A. Trucks only. B. Trucks are entering the highway. C. Upcoming hill. D. Trucks have the right of way. It is illegal for a person 21 years of age or older to drive with a minimum blood alcohol concentration (BAC) of A. 0.05%, B. 0.08%, C. 0.02%, D. 0.1%, B. 0.08%. For drivers age 21 or older, it is illegal to operate a motor vehicle with a blood alcohol concentration (BAC) of 0.08% or higher. Driving while under the influence of alcohol is not only illegal, but dangerous. Signs indicating areas of public recreation are A. Orange, B. Red, C. Green, D. Brown, D. Brown. Signs that are brown indicate areas of cultural and historical significance or of public recreation. They can be a helpful resource when traveling in unfamiliar locations. This road sign means A. Side road. B. Keep to the side indicated by the arrow. C. You may drive in the left lane. D. You have the right of way. B. Keep to the side indicated by the arrow. This is a keep right sign. It indicates that a traffic island, median, or barrier is ahead and that drivers must keep to the right of it. If someone is driving aggressively behind you, you should A. Try to get out of the aggressive driver's way. B. Stare at the driver as he or she is passing you. C. Speed up as he or she is passing you. D. Block the passing lane. A. Try to get out of the aggressive driver's way. If you encounter an aggressive driver, you should make every attempt to get out of their way. You should avoid making eye contact with a hostile driver. Challenging a hostile driver by speeding up may only make them angrier, thereby increasing their danger. When approaching a school bus stopped with its stop arm extended, drivers should A. Come to a complete stop and wait to proceed. B. Honk their horn before passing the bus on its left. C. Continue driving when they think most kids are probably done exiting the bus. D. Pass the bus before its door opens. A. Come to a complete stop and wait to proceed. When approaching a stopped school bus that is using its stop signal, a driver is required to come to a complete stop. They should not proceed until the stop arm is withdrawn.